and welcome to another week in our garden. The weather's improved, it's a beautiful sunny day and there's just a hint of a breeze which is very refreshing. Yesterday was very hot, but today we have a little bit of breeze which makes it more pleasant. Now we're starting at the shed because I want to show you the grapevine. I was looking at it just before the hot weather and I noticed that there was a lot of growth at the top and the under canopy was beginning to show signs of having a bit of mildew on them. So I got the secateurs and the ladder and I took all the long growths off and tried to leave it so you have your grapes and then two buds with leaves on above that, and tried to cut off there. Almost impossible, but I think I got there in the end. And when I finished, I gave them all a good spraying with some fungicide. This is the fungicide I've used. It seems to be clearing it, doing quite a good job. There is a bit of spray marking on the leaves, but the good shower rain will wash all that off. But the grapes themselves, I can't see any mildew on them now. They get sort of a grey hue on them when they're going mildew, and then they start to rot. Now I should give them about 10 days, and when the weather's right I'll spray them again, and probably 10 days after that. But it's all weather dependent. You don't want to be up there spraying while there's a bit of wind on. So you just follow the instructions and we'll be alright. We'll probably save the grapes this year. Now, somebody asked me how I propagate the raspberries. Obviously we don't take cuttings, we take the runners off the roots. So we'll nip down and see if we can get one to show you how it's done. Now these are the raspberry canes, as you can see. They're just budding up nicely. These will be the lates, and I've one or two spaces that the plants haven't taken that I need to fill. Now to propagate, these are suckers that are coming off the line, and these are what we use for the propagation. If they're like this one and they got really tall, best thing to do with that is leave it till winter and then dig it up and move it in. It's going to be quite a strong plant to actually lift and move, so we'll leave that one be and we'll take this small one. There's two there, we could take both of them, but that one will tie in. This one is further out, so we'll have this one up. So it's only a case of getting down there and lifting it, move the soil away, and you'll find it'll be on a runner. There's the runner lot. So we cut that, come away from it a bit, a couple of inches, and cut off, and then follow it back to the other side of the runner, give it again a couple of inches and cut off. Carefully take that bit of soil off if you can, if you're not. And there you are, there's your raspberry plant. So what we'll do, take a handful of compost out of that pot, put that in nice and firm. Don't put it too deep, whatever you do, because they don't live deep down. We'll give it a good watering. We'll pop a label in it to say it's a primer cane, and then that can go into the run for next year and hopefully be like these. If you take some runners off your raspberries, do label them so you know which variety they are for their flowering time, and also keep the little runner in pot in the shade. It doesn't want to be sat out in the full sun. Keep it in the shade, keep it watered, and it'll be away in no time. Now we're here, we're going to harvest these French beans. They're the yellow ones. Rather than bend down picking each one, what I do is, I'll show you, it's quite, I cut them off, leave the root in the ground, and you can see they're all ready, so I take the whole lot. What's left on the leaves, etc., will be chopped up and put in the compost heap. Once you cut them off, it's just a case of taking the beans off, and then as you can see, that one there's had, looks like slug damage, that does, so we leave that. Big, small, no matter what, take them, and then there you are. It's a lot easier than bending down. The majority of them are ready, as you can see. Nice looking beans, so we'll get them picked and we'll show you what we've picked when we've done it. These are what we've picked off those dwarf yellow beans, quite a few, and that's the end of the line on this one now. I've saved the belote to see what that will produce. It's growing quite well. Now I'll just put the tops of the beans into the compost, and then I'll show you how the blackberries are doing now I've covered them up with some insect mesh. I have covered the blackberries with an insect mesh to keep the flies and the wasps from damaging the fruit. As you can see, the fruit is coming nicely now. Nice large berries. They're not quite ready, but when they are ready, at least they'll be nice and clean and make a good harvest. Blueberries, we put the insect mesh on and we tucked it in the bottom and pegged it down. And as you can see, the crop's coming nicely now. There's no flies and wasps again in there to destroy the fruit. We'll have a good harvest of blueberries this year. Now, Diane says she'd like a red cabbage for the coleslaw, so I'm going to lift the net and dive in and get one of these, the largest one, so it makes more room for the others to come on. They've done very well, the red cabbages. I'm quite pleased with them. Try and leave as much of the soil behind as we possibly can. There you are then. That is one nice red cabbage. You always find with red cabbages, they have a lot of leaves and a smaller head than the green cabbages, but that one is a very tight head. Very pleased with that. But while we're here at the cabbage patch, if you like to call it that, we've taken a red cabbage, so I'm going to take this pointy one to go with it, and then they'll be both used in the coleslaw. So I'll take this one to go with it. I'll just pull them up. There you are. Good cabbage. It's got a hole or two in it, but the centre's fine. While we're here, we'll just show the progress of the cabbage Sherwood. It's got loads. It's trying to throw even more heads. Look, I think it thinks it's a Brussels sprout. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but if I just move this leaf, you can see there's another cabbage throwing extra heads as well there. Look, it's just beginning, so we'll leave that one for a while. Now we're down at the main onion bed, and I'd just like to show you this. That's going to seed. So what I normally do, if it's going to seed, I just take them out and I give them to Diane and she uses them straight away. Beautiful onions, but what you'll find is if they've tried to go to seed, the neck will thicken and they won't store. There's another one here, look. I actually took the seed head off that one, but that's got to come out as well. Just take them out. The thing is, if you don't catch them now, when you get them in store and you've hung them on the strings, these will probably rot and they could take some more of your other onions out. So if they're going to seed, use them straight away. They don't. The rest of the onions are now maturing and falling over. Do let them fall on their own, don't push them over, and when they're all flat we'll let them dry out and then we'll harvest. I'll just show you how those spring onions we planted last week are settling down. Now this is the row we planted, and you can see how they've stood up and they're really on the way now. These ones this side were set about, I think about 10 days before those, and you could nearly get onions out of those. Now as you can see, the larger tomatoes are nearly ready for picking. We'll probably harvest them tomorrow and then they'll be cooked down for winter use. Now we're having the warmer weather, the tomatoes are really ripening fast now, so the only other problem we will have if we don't get them off, when they get really ripe, the pigeons will get to them. We don't really want the pigeons eating them because they make such a mess. They don't just eat one, they peck several. While we're here, we're getting blustery wind, and as the apple tree has been fruiting and getting some weight on it, the wind has really pushed into there, look, and really pushed these down. I can't really see any breaks on them, but there's lots of twists in there, so I might have to come and lighten the crop a little. If you look here, look, where there's 3 we can manage just as well with 2, so we could take that one off. Well, take that one off instead. Take one of those off just to lighten the load a bit on here, so it'll give the tree a little bit of springiness in the wind. But it's cropping very, very well. Don't want to lose too many by lightening the load because it is a really good tree. Now we've just popped into the bottom greenhouse. It's like an oven in here. But the peppers really do like this heat. Hopefully, if we can keep getting a bit of sunshine, we'll start and ripen some off and we'll be able to start harvesting. The aubergines, as you know, we've harvested 2, and as you can see the next pair is about ready now. That's about ready. And we'll probably harvest those aubergines in the next day or so. We don't want to get them while they're nice and shiny. The other thing I want to tell you that I'm going to do later today, not at the moment because it's too hot to be in here, but I'm going to remove a lot of the leaves on the base of the peppers and the aubergines, clear the stems a little bit. Now the hot peppers, I won't take anything off those, I just leave those to grow. But take some of these leaves off, and looking round there's an odd leaf that's a bit yellow and the plant doesn't want it, so I might as well take it off. But I'll do that this evening, I think, or late afternoon as it cools down a little. Only a small harvest this week, but while I was down the garden we was looking at the French cobra beans, which are just about ready for harvesting. But with us picking all these yellow ones, we'll probably pick those on Monday, so you'll see those being harvested Monday. There's the tail end of the peas to harvest as well. The tomatoes you saw, which we will pick when we've got a little bit more time, and the courgettes are ready as well, but we haven't picked any courgettes today, thank goodness, but there's loads ready. I think Diane's going to try and check the recipes for the zucchini bread, and we might just try that and see what that tastes like. I'll let you know. The harvest that we've got today are those French yellow beans. Actually, Gemma bought me that seed, so we'll be able to tell her how they got on, or probably save her a boiling of them. The red and the green cabbage make excellent coleslaw. And then those 2 onions, it's a shame to pull them, but if you leave them they won't store, so you might as well use them. Now we were going to put the cabbages in today for the autumn, winter and spring, but it's been so hot and the ground has really dried out and solidated up, so we'll leave them for today I think. But whenever I put them in, whenever the ground's ready, we will film putting them in, but that at the moment is on hold. But they are in root trainers, so they've got plenty of compost around the roots to hold them for another day or so. But I'm not, if I risked it, I'm in the sun cooking and then I go in the house and the poor plants are just going to be left to droop, so I might as well wait and do them when it gets a little cooler, all this storms on. But that'll be it for this week. Many thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing, we always appreciate that. And please like and share, it all helps. And hopefully we'll see you next week and we'll still be harvesting. It's been a good year up to now, I'm well pleased. See you next week, bye now.